Theresa Caputo, a psychic from Long Island, takes a new turn in her life. The well-known psychic from Long Island, Theresa Caputo, has made the decision to drastically alter her life. She and her new husband will move into their new house. Victoria Caputo and Larry Caputo Jr., her two children, both protested the choice, stating that they wish their mother had given it careful consideration. However, Theresa paid little attention to anyone. She followed through on her decision, which caused tension in her family and ultimately resulted in her loved ones leaving her. It had long been known that Theresa Caputo could hear voices that others couldn't. On Long Island Medium, she conveyed messages from the afterlife with her distinctive flair and large hair as spirits came and went. In her later years, however, she was looking for something more: peace. She thought Daniel, a calm man from upstate New York, far from the busy world of Long Island, was the source of that tranquility. He liked Theresa because of her warmth and passion, even if he didn't believe in ghosts. They purchased a modest lakeside cottage and made plans to start again after a year of discreet dating. Her kids, Victoria and Larry Jr., were in disbelief when she told them. With a worried tone, Victoria remarked, "Mom, you hardly know him." Larry Jr. continued, "You always said family came first. What is causing you to flee from us?" Heartbroken, Theresa answered, "I've listened to what other people desire throughout my life. I must listen to my own intuition for once." She moved in with Daniel in spite of their entreaties. The house was quiet and charming, and the voices subsided for the first time in decades. However, the phone calls also did. There were no visits throughout the holidays. The mail ceased delivering pictures. Theresa lit a candle in her reading room one wet evening. She sensed a chilly wind blowing through, the presence of a familiar face. In a whisper, "I didn't want to be right." It was the voice of her late mother. Theresa's eyes filled with tears. Did I do something wrong? Slowly, the spirits came back for her, not for others. They carried messages of regrets, memories, and unexplored paths, not of strangers. She was reminded of missed birthdays, unreturned affection, and lost laughter by every whisper. Daniel stayed by her side for years, patient but aloof. Theresa took up her old phone one morning and dialed Victoria. "I apologize," she said. "I felt like I needed some silence. However, I needed you." Victoria didn't say anything, but she didn't end the call. And her family slowly started to come back, exactly like the spirits. But the Thursday morning in Long Beach, New York, was wet. The sky was a drab gray as fog crept up from the Atlantic, causing waves to slowly pound against the shore. A small group of people sat at a table in the rear corner of the Bean and Beyond, a quaint beach cafe. Whispers of interest and expectation blended with the aroma of freshly ground espresso beans. They weren't just there for a coffee date. They had an unearthly reason for being here. Despite the weather, Theresa Caputo, the Long Island medium, showed up at the cafe wearing a leopard print scarf, her trademark huge blonde hair, and a glowing presence that seemed to light up the place. As she moved to the rear table, her heels clicked lightly on the tile floor, and she gave the gathering a loving grin. "Okay, so who among us has been having dreams about a deceased person?" she requested almost instantly, without even waiting to take a seat. A young woman covered her mouth with her palm as she gasped. I've," she muttered. "My grandma, each and every evening this week." As though she had known already, Theresa nodded. "She expresses her pride in you. She has also existed. Have you noticed any butterflies recently?" The woman's eyes filled with tears. "Indeed. One landed on my car's mirror yesterday and refused to go away." For a brief period, the room was silent, torn between amazement and incredulity. Theresa sat down and sipped her drink while the barista handed her warm mugs of cappuccino and latte. She looked at the gathering and remarked, "I love doing reads, but what people don't see, what happens behind the read, is the real magic." "What's behind the read?" someone inquired. "Yes," she said with a smile. it's the silent time before spirit appears. The visits to coffee shops, the tears, the laughing, and the sporadic thoughts that cross my mind while I wait for my espresso. "Hey, tell her I miss her spaghetti sauce," is what Spirit says when he touches me on the shoulder. Everyone chuckled. Spirit is funny sometimes. They can occasionally be pushy. However, they always deliver affection. Theresa talked to a few more folks as the morning went on. A man who had lost his sibling in an automobile accident. The adolescent is missing her closest companion. 5 years later, a widower is still in mourning. Every reading offered comfort, hope, or just a sense of community. Every message included a heart, a tale, and a connection that was stronger than death itself. The 2-hour session was coming to an end. Theresa smoothed her jacket and stood. "Keep in mind that Spirit is always present," she advised. "I don't have to speak with them for you. All you have to do is have faith and perhaps have a conversation with them over a nice cup of coffee." With a wink, she threw some cash into the tip bucket and walked away. However, she stopped, turned around, and gestured toward a woman seated next to the window before leaving. She called and said, "Your dad says you should stop worrying about the job. You will be all right." Indeed, he did witness you dancing to Bon Jovi in the kitchen. When Theresa stepped outside into the rain with the cafe doorbell jingling softly behind her, the woman's mouth fell open. Suddenly, the Long Island medium disappeared into the fog, leaving behind a group of people whose lives had been irrevocably altered by a casual coffee conversation. But in Willow Creek, a sleepy village, it was a calm Tuesday afternoon. The air smelled of distant rain, and the sky was a light gray. Fluorescent lights buzzed dully overhead at Green Valley Supermarket, and the banal sounds of shopping trolleys sliding on linoleum and checkout beeps indicating scanned products filled the aisles. Then, with a whoosh, the doors opened and Theresa Caputo, the Long Island medium herself, entered. She was instantly recognizable thanks to her high heels, blonde hair, and dazzling aura, which seemed to split the atmosphere like a fog beacon. People whirled. There were whispers. "Is that her? Theresa Caputo?" Theresa stopped close to the vegetable section, her head tilted slightly and her eyes half closed. She clenched her chest, which is a typical indication that something spiritual is taking place. No one else seemed to notice, but a mist appeared to whirl about the bananas and apples. Slowly, she turned to face a young woman who was comparing yogurt brands. Theresa remarked, "I'm sorry to interrupt," and approached her. "But there's a gentleman standing beside you in a Navy uniform. He's telling me his name is Peter. He says you're his daughter." The woman dropped the yogurt, obviously surprised. She muttered, "My dad. He passed away in the Navy 5 years ago. He says he never got to say goodbye. He keeps showing me a gold compass, says it was yours once, or maybe you gave it to him." The woman broke down in tears. She extracted a tiny, tattered compass keychain from her purse. "Before his most recent deployment, I gave him this. When he passed away, I didn't believe he still had it." As Theresa wandered the aisles like a spiritual detective, more customers started to arrive. Like magnets to metal, long forgotten or lost spirits clung to her presence. Theresa murmured, "Your brother wants you to stop blaming yourself for the accident." And an older man by the frozen foods aisle started crying. "He claims that you weren't at fault for the car." She softly approached a cashier on break near the cereal aisle. "Who's Joe? Tell Joe I'm proud of him," is being shouted by someone. The youth shuddered. "That's my father. 2 months have passed since his death. Last week, I started college." Even the doubters started to believe. The air glistened with energy. As though the shop had transformed into a hallowed entryway, the line between the living and the dead briefly blurred. Theresa was discreetly approached by an elderly woman using a cane who said, "Do you notice anyone near me?" Theresa gave a nod. "Your late husband. Where did you hide his fishing hat?" He continues asking. Through her tears, the woman laughed. Tell him that he never looked in the attic. Theresa grinned. That sounds about right, he says. 2 hours later, the vigor faded. The spirits became more subdued. Clearly exhausted, Theresa grinned and added, they just wanted a chance to be heard, to no one in particular. Her heels clicked like echoes in time as she stepped out into the dreary day after purchasing a bottle of water and a solitary arrangement of roses. She gave the cashier a kind gesture. The business seemed back to normal behind her, yet something was different. The way people looked at each other changed. They were a touch softer and more conscious of the possibility that the boundary between this world and the next wasn't as clear-cut as they had thought. But in Sayville, Long Island, it was a cold autumn afternoon. The renowned Long Island medium Theresa Caputo had just finished a private reading when she experienced an odd longing for something sweet rather than a message from the other side. She strolled into Sugar Moon Cupcakes, a charming little bakery, attracted by the aroma of cinnamon and vanilla. A happy Ellie, wearing a white apron smeared with powdered sugar, stood behind the counter. "Hello," she chirped. "I take it that you're Theresa Caputo." Theresa grinned. "I am that. I was drawn to this spot for some reason." "Oh," Ellie responded with a cryptic smile, "you're not the first to say that. Do you want to sample our unique spirit cupcakes?" Theresa's eyebrow went up. "Cupcakes with a spirit?" Ellie bent in. "Insight is poured into them. I can tell how individuals are feeling by looking at the cupcakes they select." Unaccustomed to the odd, Theresa was interested. "All right, let's see what my soul desires." Ellie gestured to a tray of cupcakes, each adorned with a different pattern and color of frosting. A sea salt caramel with dark chocolate specks in the shape of stars, a deep crimson velvet topped with candied roses, and lavender with a swirl of gold. Without hesitation, Theresa stretched out and selected the lavender gold one. Ellie's gaze expanded. "Ah, that's an intriguing decision." Theresa bit into it. Her tongue swirled with the flavors, warm, flowery, almost electric. Slowly nodding, Ellie gazed into the cupcake as if it were a crystal ball. "You are surrounded by someone, a female. She never stopped baking. I adored her kitchen, wore perfume with a lemon fragrance." Theresa blinked. "My grandma. I was 10 when she died. I learned how to make pizzelles from her." Ellie gave a knowing smile. "She has been attempting to contact you. It serves as a recipe as well as a spirit guide." Theresa chuckled. "A formula?" "Yes, for peace," Ellie replied. "You have been putting in too much effort, pushing too hard. She wants you to stop reading and start baking again." Theresa was silent for a while. She felt the warmth of the cupcake in her hand. Softer. Known. For the first time in years, Theresa rolled up her sleeves and made pizzelles that evening at home. Tears filled her eyes as the scent filled her kitchen, but they weren't sad tears. Like her grandmother's memories, which was now closer than ever, they were charming. Theresa began providing monthly cupcake readings at Sugar Moon after that day. People came to taste messages from the afterlife, one cupcake at a time, in addition to hearing from the other side. But when Jessica eventually made the decision to see Theresa Caputo, the Long Island medium, it was a cold October afternoon. She craved closure after years of pain and uncertainties that plagued her every night. No amount of time or therapy could ever erase the void left by the unexpected loss of her younger brother Daniel. Theresa welcomed her to her house in Massapequa. Her energy was extraordinarily vibrant, her blonde hair was flawless, and her nails were freshly painted. Jessica, though, was anxious. Always thought that there was an afterlife, but belief and experience are not the same thing. Theresa briefly grounded herself by closing her eyes as they sat across from one another. "I must tell you," Theresa said, her eyes still closed, "I sensed a young man's presence as soon as you entered. He accompanied you." Jessica felt her heart leap. "He's claiming that he passed away suddenly. Is this something unexpected or just an accident?" Jessica nodded, tears welling up in her eyes. "My sibling, Daniel, Vehicle collision. 3 years prior, Theresa gave a soft smile. He claims to have been attempting to attract your notice. Have you been listening to music that makes you think of him lately? Jessica let out a gasp. Daniel's favorite music simply that morning, Mr. the Killer's Bright Side, had been playing on the radio. Twice. That isn't a coincidence, he claims. He claims that you kept a red-colored hoodie of his. A sob was choked out by Jessica. His high school sweatshirt was in her closet. It was black and crimson. She had kept it to herself. Tell her I'm fine, he says. I had no feelings at all. Additionally, I'm proud of her for beginning the painting classes at last. Jessica put her hand over her mouth. After years of procrastination, she had resumed her painting, something Daniel had always urged her to do. He's demonstrating to me how you paint sunflowers. She let out a weak laugh. A sunflower field was her first class project. It brought up memories of better times, which is why she had picked it. Theresa's eyes were now completely open. Jess, he accompanied you today. You weren't by yourself. He's still with you too. The only sound in the room was the gentle murmur of wind chimes outside. Theresa extended her arm and caressed Jessica's hand tenderly. You shouldn't be depressed anymore, he says. You are destined to survive, to be in love. Tell her the sky's still ours, he replies. Does that have any significance for you? Jessica's weeping had stopped being quiet. Before he drove away that evening, that was the last thing he spoke to her. He muttered, the sky is still ours, no matter what, as they stood beneath a starry sky. But Long Island was experiencing a calm fall afternoon. Theresa Caputo's comfortable reading area was illuminated by golden rays of the sun as leaves rustled softly outside. For Theresa, a new day meant a new session, but it was never the same. Every meeting carried the burden of love, healing, and loss. Two families were supposed to meet Theresa today. They were strangers but shared a common grief: the recent death of a loved one to cancer. The Romano family was the first to arrive. The widowed mother of two, Angela Romano, had lost her husband, Marco, to pancreatic cancer only 6 months earlier. A chef, a humorist, and a man who never allowed his soul to wane even as his body started to, Marco had been the center of their family. Angela looked around the room anxiously as she sat quietly with her hands holding the couch's edge. Sophia, her teenage daughter, sat next to her and made a concerted effort to be strong. Theresa came in with her usual warmth and assurance. She said, "Hi, sweetie," as she sat against them. "Right away, I have to tell you, there's a man stepping forward, very strong energy, and he's showing me a kitchen." Was he a chef? Tears filled Angela's eyes. Yes, that is Marco. He was an avid cook. He would advise us on which spices to use even while he was receiving hospice care. Theresa grinned. He is now giggling. You constantly overcook the spaghetti, he claims. There was an immediate release of tension as everyone laughed. Theresa went on to describe vivid pictures and words that only Marco could have understood. Even the last recipe he scrawled in a notebook, his dying moments, and his own nickname for Sophia. Theresa replied softly, "He wants you to know that cancer didn't take away his identity. He knew you would continue to adore him, so he passed away peacefully." The second family, the Nguyens, arrived just as the Romanos were departing with lightened hearts. College student Hannah Nguyen arrived with her father, Min. They recently lost Lynn, their wife, and their mother to breast cancer. Silent and fiercely devoted to her family, Lynn had always put the needs of others before her own. As soon as they entered, Theresa covered her heart with her hand. "Your mother is with me already. She is displaying a pink scarf to me. During therapy, did she wear one a lot?" Hannah let out a gasp. She put it on each day. She loved it the most. Theresa was remarkably accurate in describing Lynn's presence, including her laugh, her hands, and the way she would sing traditional Vietnamese lullabies, even when Hannah was a teenager. Lynn informed Min that he had done more than enough and conveyed her pride in her daughter through Theresa. She claims to have witnessed your nightly presence by her bed, even when you believed she was asleep. She also wishes to express her gratitude for brushing her hair. I didn't know she knew, Min said in a whisper as she started crying. After giving Lin time to express her feelings, Theresa said, I am still with you, every breath, every step. I'm in the warmth of your dreams, in the breeze, and in the cherry blossoms. Something unexpected occurred as the session came to a finish. As their families went by in the corridor, Angela Romano and Hannah Nguyyen's gazes met. They were strangers bound together by love, loss, and a message from beyond, but they experienced a moment of understanding without exchanging words. With a slight knowing smile on her lips, Theresa observed them in silence. This is why I do what I do, she reasoned. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Mina, and I hope you're having a great day. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the video.